back to YachtLens, where we explore the most distinctive vessels in the world, and we are doing that again today. We are fortunate to be getting aboard Gyrfalcon, just a stunning example of Northwest history, and we are fortunate even further to have with us Peter and Nancy, the current owners, and they have been gracious enough to offer to take us through this very special boat.
So here we are entering the Salon, and we'll start with the history of the boat. This is the blueprint from the boat when it was built. It was built in 1941 in Seattle, in Magnolia, by Sagstad, and it was built to survey the coast of the Aleutian Islands because in the late 30s, the U.S. government was concerned about a potential war with Japan, and they looked at the charts and saw that they didn't have really good charts of the Aleutian Islands, and so what they did was they built two ships, the Gyrfalcon, which was called the Patton, and the Lester Jones, to go to Alaska and survey the coast and make the charts. So this is a blueprint of the boat as it was built. And originally, the cabin ended right here. And then in the 70s, somebody extended the cabin aft and made this beautiful salon, which we have really, really enjoyed. And somebody also, originally there were masts to do some of the survey work. So the boat surveyed the coast of Alaska from 1941 to 67, and it was surplused and became a private boat at that point.
When the Salon was added, also the access to the officers' quarters was changed. Originally, there were a set of steps right there about where Nancy's standing, and then when they added this, they put these circular steps going down into the officers' quarters. So that's one of the additions.
So let's go down to the officers' quarters. There were 3 officers on the boat when it was a government boat, and they lived down here. This bunk here, this area here was a captain's bunk, and each of the officers had a bunk, one here and one over there. This bunk has been removed for these stairs. And then the original stairs came down here, and the officers then had a butterfly hatch here so that they would have light, and they had a dining room table here. So they ate their meals here. And they ate their meals on Coast and Geodetic Survey China, which we have a full set.
Oh, so that's fantastic.
Collected piece by piece on eBay, so it's the most expensive place settings in the world.
So over here are the hanging lockers for the officers, and then this is the captain's desk. And this is actually a picture that we found of one of the previous captains when it was a government boat sitting at this desk.
One of the things that's always impressed us is the size of these knees. I mean, how massive they are. Yeah. This one had one of the masts was here, so there's extra support there, but still the knees on this boat are all of that size. And the hull is a foot thick. So it's a 4-inch plank, a 4-inch dead space, and a 4-inch plank.
And it's all fur.
All fur.
Yep.
And the floors are fur as well. And most of them. So in this one, what you're looking at there is original fur, and then a lot of it had been replaced with plywood over the years. And then Nancy has gone ahead and done faux painting there to make it faux fur. So and you can see that's actually a piece of plywood on the back.
That's real craftsmanship. That's absolutely fantastic.
When we bought the boat, we poked around everywhere, and one of the cool things was this is what from government days. They used to keep their office memos and different things in some of these places. So that was we've never taken that off because it's so old. A private head here with a shower and toilet sink, and this was built to Navy specs, so it's got a fairly large shower for a boat.
One of my favorite parts of this stateroom are these drawers here, because they just keep going. They go all the way to the hull. There, that's it. And they're different lengths, of course, because the hull is different lengths. But anyway, they're massive. So on this boat, although we both have our master's papers, Nancy is the captain, and I am the CEE. That's the chief of everything else. I'm the cook, the deckhand, and the engineer. So as the cook, the galley. So the galley is pretty functional. When we bought the boat, this was a solid wall, and we ripped it out and put this nice wood in it. The wood covers supports for the crane, which is up on the roof, to keep the crane from ripping the boat apart. This was all done by a boatyard that's no longer around called Lake Union Boat Repair. And Ben Harry was the guy there. And so, yeah, they did a lot of the initial work when we first bought the boat. They did all the interior stuff for us.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Work. Yeah.
So the Galley then, all this is a composite resin from Bend, Oregon. And the shiny bits in here are broken beer bottles. So we had that all cut to fit.
A counter right after my own heart.
There you go. And so we have all the creature comforts, a microwave, we have an oven, or two stove. And then we added this drawer for all the pots and pans.
And the oven is diesel? Or is it
Propane.
Propane.
Propane, yeah. And so this oven came in through this hatch. Everything in this boat this is the biggest opening in the boat. The glass comes off, but still anything that comes into the boat has to go through this space. So the oven must have been on its side and came in. Sure. And then below here is another hatch that goes directly down into the engine room, which is helpful because then we can take things like batteries and oil and stuff like that in and out using the crane. When this refrigerator went in, we had to take the doors and the handles off so that it would fit through the hole and then bring it in and put it down there. So we have a refrigerator, we have an ice maker, which is essential when you have guests, a nice sink, dishwasher, everything you could possibly need. So we can do a lot of cooking in here. I like to cook, and so, it's nice when you have guests to be able to have plenty of places to cook. Wonderful. Yeah. And then a really nice Veta hood, the biggest hood we could find.
That fit, yeah.
That fits, so yeah.
And then one thing we've done over the years is figured out how to not make things fall over or go places. So, for instance, this drawer, it has a little pin, just goes in there so the drawer won't come out. Really? And then over here, no, let's not worry about that. Oh, yeah. But over here, this just comes down, slides over those, so they don't go anywhere. So, and we have little tricks. We have a list actually. Yeah, when we get into rough water, we have a list of all the places where our pins have to go in, or to make everything stay in place. This is a mic that is wired to one of the radios in the pilot house, so you can use it as an intercom, or you can listen to a radio channel, one of the radio channels.
Excellent. That's
really been great. So when this was a government boat, these were both day heads, so heads that would be available to the crew, so they wouldn't have to go downstairs. And so this one was converted to a pantry at some point, which is great for a boat to have this much room. And this boat lives on Dr. Pepper. So. And this is how the heads were set. It's the same configuration as when it was in a government boat. So this is an electrical closet, and then here is the day shower. So another place where the crew could shower without going down into the forward bunks. When this was a government boat, there were 13 crew, and so they all lived forward, unlike the officers. There were bunks all through here. This is all open, there were just bunks. And so a previous owner divided this up into cabins. So we have 3 guest cabins. Each one has a double bed, and one of them has, in addition, 2 bunks. Each bunk has 6 drawers below, and then they're also set up so they don't go flying, in bad weather. This is another pantry.
You don't want for storage.
No, it's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And another pantry.
And yet another.
This is pantry 2, that's pantry 3.
Yeah.
And then here's the washer and dryer. So we can take care of that.
Same thing. When this boat was built, it was chain and cable steering. And so here's just some of the original steering cable. That's chain. This is out of the system right now, but we just kept it.
Yeah.
Kind of as
I love all the original
things.
Touches and storage.
We tried to keep as many as we could and still make it safe and convenient.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is the guest bath. So it's got a big shower and full bath. This floor in here and all forward is fur. And when we bought the boat, it was carpeted. So we pulled out all the carpet tack and found this beautiful fir floor with copper nails everywhere. So we just shined it up and just finished it and just left it as is with all the history that goes with it.
Sure.
And then this is our third stateroom, again with a full double bed. And this is the one that also has 2 bunks.
But look at the storage, the drawers.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because of the size of the boat, we're chartering considered a 12-pack, which is a 6-pack on steroids. And then because we weigh more than 100 tons, we can take 12 people.
Sure.
We can sleep 8 comfortably.
8 guests.
8
and
guests
then,
and ourselves, yeah.
yeah. And this hatch is original, but we didn't have any way to get out of for people to get out of the hatch in case something happened and they needed to get out. So this is probably from a 60s boat or something like that. But we needed a way to hang it up here, and we did some repair work on the bow of this boat a couple of years ago. And one of the things that was taken out was this long bolt that was made of Monel. This boat is fastened with Monel, and Monel that is one of the hardest steels ever, and it doesn't rust at all. And so this bolt is from 1941.
Wow.
No rust at all on it.
Yeah.
And we just had somebody machine it so we could hang this from the boat.
Right.
Yeah, just to keep
Great.
some of the old touches.
And there's stateroom 2.
Yeah, stateroom 2 set up like stateroom
Stateroom
1.
And then this is a vent here, the dorade kind of thing. Then we'll see the other side of it up on the deck when we go forward.
Yeah.
But there's one here, and then there's one here
Yeah.
in the hallway.
The one in the hallway, in the passageway, we put a fan
Exhaust
in.
fan,
So that's our exhaust fan for our
Oh, that's
shower.
good. Yeah. Exactly.
So this is Pilot House. It's probably the best part of the boat.
It is
It's awesome.
very cool. It is just about as historic as you get.
And this is where people like to hang when we're underway, because you've got a great view from here. You can see the whales and the whatever, and so.
Or I'll say sleep on the bench that Peter's sitting on. There's a lot of sleeping that goes on the
Yeah.
bench.
Night watch and
No, just day sleeping.
We tend not to do too much night traveling just because we don't need to.
Sure.
You know, so we like to anchor. So we would say, I'd say 95% of our time out, we're at anchor somewhere.
Look at the ship's wheel. And we said this was not probably original.
It's not original, but it's of the age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it's still used to move the rudder. So
Yeah, yeah. And this is the original compass.
binnacle.
But all the modern electronics.
All the modern electronics. Yeah, the old telegraph stand is here, but it doesn't have a telegraph on it anymore. It has the steering controls. And so we have, there's 2 engines, so we have 2 controls, and this is a jog rudder. So if you're turning the boat, if you go from if you could turn it all the way one way and then all the way to the other, it's about 13 turns, which can be hard when you're coming into the locks or docking. And so the jog rudder is a hydraulic pump that can move the rudder much quicker, in about 20 seconds or so, can move it from lock to lock.
That's
And then the heat in here is that hot water radiator. It's a copper radiator that's, and it just keeps this boat so warm and toasty. I love it.
Then this table is from a prior owner. Apparently I think it's a piece of walnut that was in his yard that he took down, the tree, and he put this table in. It used to be, the chart table was here, and now the chart table has moved over to that side. So.
And
that's
then
a massive chart shape.
Yeah.
Really nice and
Yeah.
that picks up.
So there's the chart.
when we bought the boat, we rewired everything, and so we didn't want to worry about any substandard wiring anywhere in the boat, and so the panels over here, the electrical panels, are all rewired and all brand new. But the one thing that we were able to keep from back when the boat was originally built is this electrical panel, which is our light panel. So it's totally functional, it's totally rewired, but all the switches and everything are from, yeah.
And then this is the panel for the pilot house. So we have a redundant panel for the pilot house electronics in addition to the main power below. And then next to that are the switches for the 14 bilge pumps. So we have, the boat was built with independent bulkheads. So it's had 3 different bulkheads, which have been breached over the years. But still, we generally have a pump on the port, a pump on the starboard, and then a high water pump in the center. So there's 3 per compartment, sometimes 6. So
Let's go out on deck.
okay. So these are the 2 inlets for the air that we saw down in the passageway below. And then this is the hatch, the very beautiful hatch that was in the forward stateroom. Our anchor winch is pretty big.
That's impressive.
And so it's got 2 anchors. We have an anchor on either side. The anchors weigh about 600 pounds. And then this chain, which is 90 feet of chain here, is another 1,000 pounds. So we're usually pretty solid on the bottom when we drop it. We also have a second anchor on the starboard side, which is all chain. We don't use that much because, as Nancy mentioned, somebody has to flake it, and that somebody is usually me, and it's that nasty work. So this was originally 110 DC when the boat was built, and it was replaced with hydraulics during the overhauls in the 70s. So it's all hydraulic now.
And how much chain on this side?
That's about 300 feet, I think.
300 or 400.
400
and then
feet.
on that side, there's 100 feet, but then there's cable,
There's
about 400 feet of
300
cable or something
yeah.
like that.
And the draft of the boat is?
The draft is about 8 feet. Yeah. It's probably a little less than when it was originally built because the original engines were much heavier than the Caterpillars that we have now. So, yeah, it's about 8 feet.
Yeah. The winch was built in Seattle by a company called Markey, and they're still around. So when we bought the boat, we saw the little plaque here saying Markey, Seattle, Washington, and I emailed them and said, do you know anything about this winch? And they sent me a PDF of the original plans.
And then a couple of years ago, we actually took the winch off and gave it to them, and they rebuilt it for us. So it's all back to specs.
Is that right?
Yeah. Should we go up on the upper deck? So then on the upper deck, we have the pilot house roof, which is a nice area to sit.
Yeah,
night.
this is the place to
Enjoy
be on a day
some
like
beverage.
today, that's
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Some of the electronics. This is a new Furuno GPS compass, and it has 4 different GPS units in it, so it's incredibly precise. It's great. And then we have our crow's nest up there.
And that's Bob up there, and Bob didn't listen to the captain, so that's why he's stuck up there.
Dear Bob. What, is that Leonardo DiCaprio? Or,
Yeah. And then we've got the Starlink, like all big boats do now. The Starlink.
all the things we never would have thought about
Yep.
80 years ago.
Well, it's interesting because 10 years, 5 or 6 years ago when we first started going to Alaska, nobody had Starlink.
Yeah.
And then the last time we were there, 90% of the boats had Starlink. It's just a big game changer for up there. And then this is the Fiddly and the big G for Gyrfalcon, and 2 engines and 2 generators. And this is the hatch that we talked about in the kitchen, in the galley that goes down into the engine room. This is the access here. And yeah.
A massive hatch.
Yeah. And then we have a chest freezer up here and 2 dinghies. This is a fishing dinghy, an aluminum fishing dinghy, and then that's an inflatable. We have 4 kayaks for people to enjoy. And then here we have this massive crane, which may or may not have been used to look for cannons on the bottom of the sea in the Caribbean. That's one of the stories. But in any case, it's a fun toy. It's out of character for the rest of the boat, but it works, and it's just such a blast to run.
That is just massive.
What's kind of cool is that whenever we go into a harbor and we start throwing the toys off, and I get up there in the crane, every male in the harbor has immediate crane envy.
That's got to be a great feeling.
It does, yeah. Yeah, so we're set for crabbing and shrimping, and we do some fishing off the back. So yeah, it's a pretty good life.
So the metal dinghy was actually made by a guy named Sean Madden, who's up in Bellingham, and he's a metal fabricator, and it's really cool because the bow drops down, so it's a walk on, walk off.
Oh, is that
And
right?
yeah,
So like a little landing craft.
Yes.
it is a very tiny landing craft.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's great for Alaska.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep, and then we have a barbecue grill, a gas propane grill. The cooking, the both this and the stove in the galley are both propane, and then the heat and the engines and the generators are all diesel. We just have finished a 1.5-year project of having all the varnish redone.
I love these, the original pictures.
These are original. I don't know if the this is
letterboards are.
original. Yeah, the signboards, they might have been replaced. The
But
so
the nav lights are.
yeah,
The nav lights are original.
when
The bulbs are new, and they change over to LEDs. But
Let's go take a look at the engine room.
sure. So this engine room is just huge, and that's because the original engines, which were Cooper Bessemer direct reversing's, were massive, and they filled this engine room, and they weighed a lot more. And as you probably know, direct reversing engines either are going forward or backward. They don't have a neutral. And so these were replaced with these Caterpillars in the mid-70s, and we're very pleased because we like the ability to go into a neutral. It is a plus. The sister ship still has the original engines, and they don't think a thing about it, but it scares me. So we have the two cats. They're each about 250 horsepower. They're turbocharged. We have two generators. The larger generator here, which is about a 35 kW. The one over on that side is a 15 kW. The smaller one also has a PTO that runs the crane on the roof and the winch in the front. Heat, we have a Kubota boiler there, which makes hot water. It makes both the hot water for the fixtures through hydronic heat, like in the pilot house, as well as doing the domestic hot water there in that silver tank. Back in the far corner there is the water maker. A U.S. water maker does about 60 gallons an hour. Fuel, we do 4,200 gallon capacity on our fuel tanks, about 2,000 on each side, which is great, which means because we have a tremendous range. We burn maybe a little under 10 gallons an hour when we're underway. We're running a generator in both engines. And with that, we're probably got about a 3,000, 3,500 mile range. So plenty of range. Tanks have been cleaned and polished recently, and they're in pretty good shape. Freshwater, we have an 1,100 gallon freshwater tank, and then a shallow well pump that runs it and runs cold water through the system.
I'm panning just to try to hopefully get across how
big this place
massive
is?
this is
Yeah.
and how much room you have to get
Yep.
to absolutely everything.
So we have a lot of the original furniture here. This is an original drawer for parts and things, and then this is original, again, for lots and lots of spares. You collect a lot of spares on a boat like this. Yeah. Here's a picture of the chief engineer in the day. I don't think he dressed like that all the time.
Probably changing the oil right now.
Yeah, probably. As we mentioned, we rewired the entire boat. So we have a big panel here, a secondary panel up front. And then when we bought the boat, it was a combination of 110 AC, 110 DC, 32 volt DC, 24 volt DC, and 12 volt DC, which was just a mishmash. And so we pared it down to mostly 24 volt. All the lamps are LEDs, and they're mostly 24 volt corn cobs like that. And the only 12 we have on the boat is for the radio, and on the stove they are happier with 12. Almost everything's 24, and then we have a few 110 AC pumps now, and then the fixtures and stuff are 110. So this is the original 1941 drill press. I think every boat should have a drill press, a boat of this size. So this is a Craftsman Sears from the era, and then the compressor is newer. We had an old two-cylinder compressor that burned out, and we couldn't get parts for it, so we just have a small one. But in the day, you had these 4 tanks back here. There are 2 in the front and 2 in the stern, and they were to fire the engines because the engines were too big for electric start, so you needed compressed air to turn those big engines over. Now, since we don't need that, they're electric start. We just use that to run the horn and fill our bicycle tires. So.
Well, I mean, the headroom in here has got to be plus feet easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh no, it is a. I mean, having owned other boats with engine compartments, this is an engine room. Yeah. Yeah. These are the original certifications for the boat, both the whole classification and certification of how big she is. So this is from 1941.
Awesome. And I just love this.
Yeah. Yeah. So those were all done by crew members when they didn't have much to do. I guess the officer had them do this whiplashing stuff.
Yeah.
There's a name for it. Nancy has learned how to do this, so she's done some of the repair on them.
But most of this is
Yeah, all the
back in the
older
day,
from back in the day. Yeah. Where did you go?
The marlin spike was done by the boat on the boat when it was a government boat, and I think it was because there were a lot of crappy days of weather in Alaska, and they just the crew they needed something for the crew to do.
So one of the things that we've done is Nancy has spent some time at the government archives in D.C. because all the logbooks from the boat when she was in service are there, and one of the notations was WTFTCNO. And we figured we knew what the WTF part was, but there was a period of 30 days where that's the only thing it said in the logbook, WTFTNC. And then on day 31, someone wrote it out. And what it actually means is weather too foul to conduct normal operations.
During World War II, there was a day where they were stuck in the harbor because the weather was so bad, and then they got an emergency broadcast from the Navy, and they wanted the boat to steam out to this island. And what happened was there were bombers that went on a bombing run to northern Japan, and they were coming back, and the weather was all fogged in, and they couldn't find out where to land. They were running low on fuel, looking for an island. And remember, this is before radar and good radios and anything like that. So they decided, this one plane, they decided they might as well just do a crash landing in the Pacific. So they got the raft ready. They were all ready to land, and they knew that nobody had ever survived a plane crashing in the North Pacific because the water was so cold and no one would be able to rescue them. So they got ready. A couple of the engines quit because they were running out of fuel. They just had a couple gallons left, and they get ready they come out of the clouds to land in the water, and in front of them, this island appeared. And it's a rock, really. It's like a half a mile wide and maybe a mile long, and they crash landed on this island. They did it on their belly. They had wheels up, and they just landed, and somehow, and they skidded along and stopped just shy of a crevasse. Everybody lived. The radio still worked. So the plane called the Navy, radioed the Navy. The Navy sent our boat out to rescue the crew of the bomber, and everybody lived. So that's the claim to fame of the patent.
The descendants of one of the people on the plane found us on the internet and reached out to us. And they said, we've always had a soft spot in our heart for your boat, because if it wasn't for your boat, Grandpa wouldn't have made it and we wouldn't be here. So we got some pictures from them, and we got pictures of the rescue, actually, of the guys, reaching up on our boat in 1942 or 3 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Wow.
They're pretty cool.
Nancy, Peter, I cannot thank you enough. We can't thank you enough for taking us through with your Falcon. Absolutely impressive bit of Northwest history. You have been incredible caretakers of this boat, and it is apparently ready for its next owner. The next owner will obviously get something that is just full of immense history and stories.
Yeah, it's been a labor of love, and it's been so much fun and so exciting to learn about the boat and to
actually take it out and use it.
Yeah.
So it's been great.
Yeah.
It's been a fun 13 years.
I bet it has. Well, leave comments for Nancy and Peter. Leave comments for us. Let us know what you think of this beautiful, beautiful vessel, and we will see you in the next video.